Hey guys, what is up, and welcome back to another episode of Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations. In the last episode, we decided to check out the kidnapper's hideout after being kicked out of the stadium, and we found out from the Proto-Badger that the Bad Badger costume is not supposed to be out until a certain stage show, but both the Bad Badger costumes are missing and out. We had a theory that, maybe there were 4 kidnappers, but they didn't steal a Pink Badger costume, they just stole a second Bad Badger costume. So, yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, now we are just on search for the second Bad Badger costume, and I guess they found it. Gumshoe said that they found it in the main gate area, so now we're gonna go ahead and check that out. Let's get going. March 13th, 3:45 p.m., Gatewater Land main gate. Where's the costume, Detective Gumshoe? Just on the other side of the fence, sir! Oh my god. Was it out here in the open all along? No, it was discovered in the tall grass back there. We moved it out here in order to examine it more thoroughly. And let's get down to it. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. God, he says that so much. What do we have here? Oh, it's another pendant! That's 2 treasures in one day! How lucky is that? And hey, this pretty baby's made of platinum silver too! Another pendant on top of the one we found on Mr. Deacon? Is it possible that these two... Wolf boy. Hands off, Mr. Prosecutor. Hands off, Mr. Prosecutor. You sure know how to cross the line, don't you? Ugh! A pendant, huh? This is a very decisive piece of evidence. How can you tell? Look here and read off what you see. Lauren... Hey, that's a name engraved on this. Aha! We have you now, Miss Kidnapper! No, you don't understand. Lolly, I can't believe you were one of my kidnappers. Lance. You're kidding! Miss Pops was one of the kidnappers? Yes. It was me. I held Lance hostage. So Miss Pops is one of the kidnappers. But even knowing that, I can't call this case solved or over. Hey, guys, case closed! Get the car ready, and I mean the special one for this young lady. Again, Mr. Prosecutor, what is it this time? Are you proposing that Miss Pops is also the culprit in the murder case? What happened? I thought Officer Meekins was your suspect. We found it. Found what? That officer's gun. He literally dropped it in the middle of a thick patch of grass. Your country's police are a sham. Just look at how careless they are. Who are you calling a sham? The officer's gun didn't show signs of having been fired, so it can't be the murder weapon. So Officer Meekins has been cleared of all charges, I see. And that's when a brand new suspect comes walking onto the scene. The murder only happened because the kidnappers started fighting amongst themselves. As I recall, it was you who said that, right, Mr. Prosecutor? Miss Pops, did you really kill Mr. Deacon? Yes, I killed him. I can't believe it. Thanks for the confession. Agent Lang, it's much too early to declare this case closed. Look at you, so sure of yourself. We got the culprit's own confession and some very incriminating evidence. What more could you ask for? Miss Lauren Pops. Yes? I want to hear it from you. Tell me your side of all that has happened today, from the kidnapping to the murder. But why? I'm a kidnapper and the killer. Isn't that enough? It's fine if you're the one behind everything, but only if that is the truth. Now then, will you tell us the truth? Or is there some reason why you can't? I've had a change of heart. I think I'd enjoy seeing you sulk away as the losing mutt. Alright, you heard me. Let's hear all about the evil deeds you committed today.
The only one who came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. We knew that we could get rich by holding Lance hostage. Mr. Amano would pay anything to get his son back after all. Everything was going according to plan, but as soon as we got the money, Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me.
There, are you satisfied? She just confessed to her crimes a second time. At least you have the guts to admit what you've done. I can at least respect that much. Miss Pops, is what you said really the truth?
Yes, it is.
If that is the truth, it certainly isn't the whole truth, because there is something that seems a bit too improbable in her confession. Okay. The one who came up with our kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. We knew that we could get rich by holding Lance hostage. Mr. Amano would pay anything to his son back after all. Everything was going to get according to plan as soon as we got the money. This feels off. I don't know. Why do you think he did?
I have no idea, but maybe he had planned on doing so from the very beginning. Miss Pops.
Wait, Mr. Deacon planned to kill Miss Pops from the very beginning? Was that ever really likely to happen? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? I'm sorry, but I don't think what you just claimed is all that likely.
Huh?
I don't think Mr. Deacon would have ever been capable of killing you.
But why? What? We were total strangers. It's not uncommon for people to kill each other over money.
Miss Pops, you really are clueless, aren't you?
What do you mean?
You never knew what your role in the kidnapping was, nor do you know who you really are. But I do, and I can show you with this piece of evidence. This proves that Mr. Deacon wouldn't have been able to bring himself to kill Miss Pops. Oh wait, no, this is Tenderlender. I'm dumb.
Why are you showing this to me?
So what about the pendant? This pair of wings, along with this piece of evidence, shows who you really are. These two pendants resemble each other, wouldn't you agree?
Hey, you're right! They're the same color and they're even made of the same material!
I believe that these two pendants are actually one. Shall we give it a try?
Wow, it's totally Pegasus! But why? Why does my pendant match up with Mr. Deacon's?
You're a smart lady. Oh, I switched into an American accent there. Whoa, American Edgeworth.
No, that can't be!
So the two make a set. It's just another trinket. It's not as though this changes anything. You lack imagination, Agent Lang. Very well. I'll show you with this evidence. This is the piece of evidence that gives meaning to the Pegasus pendant. Oliver Deacon was just an alias for this man. His real name was Colin Deveray, the name that is etched on the horse's pendant.
What?
What? An alias? I suppose he had to hide the fact that he was a felon somehow in order to live, and it makes sense, given what is written in Mr. Deveray's dossier. But what I really wanted to point out was this. This specific section is what reveals the true meaning behind those pendants. Mr. Deveray had one daughter, and her name is Lauren Pops.
That's a lie! That person was not my father!
He couldn't come out and tell you he was your father because he was in hiding. However, I believe he was trying to secretly watch over you. Do you still believe that a man like that could kill the daughter he was separated from? Or even that such a man would allow his daughter to get involved in a kidnapping plot? And what is so funny, Agent Lang? You're good at making things up in your head and deciding it's the truth, aren't you? What are you trying to say? Your thinking is much too innocent. After all, I've thought of another possibility. Is that so? Well, let's hear it. I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter, but isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? It was no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the House of Amano, and the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Wouldn't you say my scenario is perfectly probable as well? So this is his version of how things might have been. You don't have any proof that either one didn't know their true relationship, right?
You mean they knowingly committed the kidnapping as father and daughter?
That's right, as one really rotten family. Is that really what happened? I better take a long, hard look at the evidence.
Okay, Ain't you that the two of them are father and daughter? Isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? There's no coincidence that they...
You think they knew? Yeah, I don't think only the victim knew. I think the girl realized it as well. They both knew who the other person was, but they had to pretend that they didn't. Because he was on the lam? You got it. The victim couldn't exactly go around flaunting who he was. Furthermore... One as a butler and one as the friend of the son, you mean? They probably thought that was their best shot. Is that what you honestly believe? Of course. This kidnapping wasn't planned by just two people alone. And what kind of proof do you have of that? Quite simply, there were 3 kidnappers. 3? 4 costumes were stolen from the Wild Wild West area's back room. We found one of them in the kidnapper's hideout. But as for the other 3, we can assume they were being worn by 3 different people. We also found a set of 3 cups and 3 folding chairs that were used in the hideout. It all clearly points to a 3-man group. And I believe this 3rd person is the real mastermind behind the kidnapping. Who? Who is this mastermind? I present to you the brains behind the kidnapping. What? Ernest Amano? I don't know, bro. Lance Amano? Yes, this abduction was, in fact, schemed up by Lance himself. Recall what he said when he appeared before us. Did you see the faces of your kidnappers? No, I didn't see their faces, but 2. One was a woman. However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said. But I know I only saw 2 people. This guy was being held hostage. It's possible he couldn't see all 3 of them. Ah, yes, about when you were being held. I have my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you were being held captive? I really don't remember much anymore, honest. But if I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you? I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room blindfolded the entire time. But the kidnapper suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. Through the underground passageway, I presume? Are you okay? Sorry, I really didn't want to recall that horrible ordeal, but now you believe me, right? No, not quite yet. Ah! How can you not? Why do you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes? Because he's a prosecutor. Because they're all like that. I'll have you know, Agent Lang, a prosecutor's eyes are for discerning the truth. And should they be interpreted to be cruel at times, then so be it. There is a sticking point in Lance's testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push it a little. Okay. Also, the lawnmower is going outside. I very much apologize for this. Rain falling. How did you manage to escape? I wanted to just get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked, which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape. I remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I mustn't let it go unexamined. The door leading outside was locked tight, so I had to use the underground passageway. I mean... yeah... Sword... Lord. You say that the door leading out was locked, but was it really? Whoa. We're talking about that room behind the saloon front, right? Look, I heard that it took quite a few men to get that open, right, Sheena?
Yes, that's correct.
Then take a look at this. What is that? A sword? It's not an especially reliable one if it's broken like that. Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that the door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Lance, even though your hands were cuffed together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you not just simply remove the sword and escape? Why didn't I? I was disoriented. Yes, that's it. I didn't notice it. As if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim. But you did not, in fact, possess the key to the door. That is why you used the prop sword to improvise and create a prison of your very own. You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way. And what would that be? A motive. What else? Do you honestly think that an upright, pure boy like him would hatch up a completely pointless scheme such as kidnapping himself? I don't think this guy's upright, but he's not pure. This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit this crime. To put it simply, Lance has a very urgent need for money. This is hardly your typical love letter. It is, in fact, a collections bill. It appears our upstanding boy has accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Ugh!
It looks like it's hard being the son of a rich man, too. It must be rough when you have to resort to stealing from your own man, huh?
All right, I give up. I abducted myself.
Lance!
It's over, Lolly. In this life, we really are bound to our fates after all. All I wanted was to go with you to a new town, somewhere where no one would know us. I wanted us to be well off with that 1 million, but now, that dream is over.
Oh, Lance.
Then you are giving yourself up? Yes. I had planned to run away from this world with my Lolly. Oliver even helped us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back. He turned on you? Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money. That's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under control. We left him inside that room as Lolly and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left first in the Blue Badger costume. That would mean that the person Officer Meekin saw was Miss Pops. But right then, the old man just had to wake up. I was careless, and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then, Oliver put on a Bad Badger costume, took the suitcase with $1 million and ran. I contacted Lolly right away and warned her that he had a gun. They had no idea that they were related, so I thought that it could only end badly.
I still don't believe it. That person was not my father. Because if he was, I just killed my own father.
Lolly, then it really was you?
That man was not my father. I mean, a bad badger pulling the suitcase with a 1 million in it. The bad badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot. The other person crumpled to the ground, and I ran, scared for my life.
I think the big picture is finally coming into focus, don't you? Lolly, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you.
So, Miss Pops, she shot her own dad without even knowing who he really was?
If what she says is true.
Are you saying she's lying? But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve?
You would be surprised how often people lie without realizing it themselves, Kay.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
What I mean is, listen very carefully to her confession once more and you'll see. Were you able to clearly see the gun?
Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Oh, Father, why would you try to shoot me? Do you really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Mr. Edgeworth?
I don't know.
I don't want to believe it myself. But it's true. My father's left arm was raised with a gun in it, pointed straight at me. I'm about to die, I thought.
Miss Pops! Please calm down and take a deep breath. And then, would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time?
Yes, of course.
But that badger pointed the gun in his left hand at me. Oh, hold on. I have here a dossier on your father. And according to this, your father was right-handed.
Then...
The person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon. Hold on there, Mr. Prosecutor. I think you need to take a refresher course. The bad badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the real gun with was his left. Isn't it possible that it went down like that? Agent Lang, were you paying attention to what Miss Pops was saying? Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never set foot in a court to catch it. Enough with the smugness! Out with it already! Miss Pops told us earlier.
There was a bad badger putting the suitcase with a 1 million in it.
According to you, the bad badger had the gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Pops?
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure it was the bad badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face.
But if that's the case, even I can see that there's a huge contradiction. Yes, Miss Pops claims to have seen the bad badger, and yet the bad badger had both of his hands full. These two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. They are both correct. Impossible! That just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction. Miss Pop's entire statement rests on the fact that she saw his sunglasses and beard. But what if that bad badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half? This proves that there was a way for the bad badger to freely use both of his hands. The costumes have two parts to them, a head and the body.
Oh, I get it now.
The head Miss Pop saw was probably really the head of the bad badger. However, is it not possible that the body was that of an entirely different badger? A different badger? Yes, or to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of this badger. This badger? The fuck? What did I do? Oh no. The body of the blue badger? What? The heck is it?
It's the proto-badger.
Yes, and it's a simple matter of process of elimination. Miss Pops was wearing the blue Badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one. And the pink Badger is of the wrong color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that's left is the Proto Badger costume. Miss Pops, who was the one who wore the Proto Badger costume?
That would be Lance.
Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amano donned the bad Badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon? On top of which he plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing? The stage that was set up in the stadium was nothing more than that, a setup. And its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing she had committed murder, standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim. It was all done so that she would pull the trigger. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why exactly would I have had to do all that, huh? There was but one reason. Lance Amano, you are the real culprit behind the murder of Mr. Oliver Deacon. What?
No!
That's slander! Take it back! You take it back right now! Just out of curiosity, Lance, which is your dominant hand? I'm left-handed, but what does that have to do with anything? It depends. According to Miss Pops, her attacker held a gun in his left hand. Ha! Who is what-handed doesn't prove a thing. And besides, now you're just being absurd. It's not like the Proto Badger is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead, right? Of course, logically if he had been shot, he probably wouldn't be here with us. But I believe he had thought of that as well and prepared accordingly. And this should be all the evidence you need. This is how Lance made sure that he wouldn't be hit by a bullet. We found one half of a bad Badger costume in the hideout, a broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing, plus it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the bad Badger carries, which can fire blanks. What? Miss Pops, where is the gun you use now?
I threw it away into the sea.
That makes it a bit tough to verify what it was. Although I believe that we can safely assume that it was the model gun in question. I've heard enough. All you've been spouting so far is pure conjecture. I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I am right is very high. Okay, let's pretend that you're right, and that the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor? I don't know yet. Ha! I knew you were full of it. However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame.
Please, wait a second! It's simply not possible. Because I saw Mr. Deacon after he was restrained by Lance.
She saw the victim in the state of being restrained? Alright, I think that is actually where we're gonna stop for today. Roll the end card.
Objection! You haven't hit like and subscribe yet! Hold it! You forgot to ring the bell to get notified whenever I upload! Take that! Click here to watch more of my videos! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!